Hello and welcome to Politics Today, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. Tracking the policy on the weekend edition of the program is exactly what we will help you do. And it's going to be a big one today because at some point, expecting that the reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State, Mr. Philip Shaibu, should be joining us to have that conversation to get his own side of the story. But before all of that, let's tell you that Justice Peter Lifo of the Federal High Court, that's in Abuja, stopped the Independent National Electoral Commission from releasing voter register to the River State Independent Electoral Commission, that's RESEC, for the purpose of conducting the forthcoming local government elections in the state. Now, Justice Lifo issued an order of interim injunction against INEC while delivering ruling on an ex parte motion brought before him by the All Progressives Congress. The motion ex parte was filed on behalf of the APC by a team of senior lawyers and brought pursuant to Section 13 of the Federal High Court Act, Order 26, 1 and 2, and Order 28, Rules 1 and 2, and under the inherent jurisdiction of the court as enshrined in Section 6 of the 1999 Constitution. Now, the judge also ordered the Rivers Electoral Commission and the Rivers State Attorney General from receiving from INEC or using any part of the National Voter Register relating to Rivers State to conduct the local government elections in that state. The justice restrained Inspector General of Police and the Department of State Services from participating or even providing security protection for Rivers State Electoral Commission to conduct the elections in the state. The judge also issued another order barring INEC, the Rivers State Electoral Commission, the Attorney General of the state, the IGP and DSS to maintain status quo ante bellum and not to act or take any further steps in furtherance of the conduct of the local government election in Rivers State. The interim orders are to remain in force pending the determination of the substantive suit in which the APC is challenging the propriety of the conduct of elections in River State local government areas. And this is among other things that was granted by the judge. But the judge had actually fixed August the 2nd for all the defendants to appear before him to hear on the substantive matter. So that is the latest as far as the local government election is concerned in Rivers State. But let's move on now to another issue. The lawmaker representing Borno South, Senator Ndume, he's broken his silence eventually over his removal as the Senate Chief Whip. Senator Ndume informed journalists in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, that he's declining his appointment as the chairman of the Senate Committee on Tourism. The lawmaker said after reviewing the conversation that led to his removal, he stands by everything he said. He explains that his refusal to chair the Committee on Tourism is because he lacks the experience and exposure to chair such a committee. Senator Ndume explains that he will consult with his people before making a decision on his membership of the APC. Remember, they have said they've shown him the door if he chooses to go. He said he will come back on that particular issue. But let's take a listen to him.
I did not contest to be the Chief Whip. I did not contest to be the Vice Chairman of Appropriation Committee. I contested to be the one of the senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. On me leaving the party, I'm a founding member of APC. In fact, I can say I was in APC before the national chairman because I'm a member of the NPDP that formed the APC, joined the coalition that formed the APC. And I did not do that just like that. It is in consultation with my people that I joined APC. On me being removed from being chairman of Appropriation Committee, still, the Appropriation Committee was given to me not because I was desperate about it. No, it was because I was begged to accept the position of Chief Whip, knowing fully that I led the campaign for emergence of Apabio as the Senate President, and I was begged to to choose whichever committee I want to be the Vice Chairman, and I chose Appropriation in order to stand for my people and make sure that there is justice in whatever they do.
All right, so that's the reply of Senator Ndume just about 48 hours or so after he was removed as the Senate Chief Whip. But our guys at channelstv.com, they did a fantastic job. There's something they call Ndume, the APC senator, always speaking his mind. If you go to channelstv.com, they curated at each time, despite which government is in power, Ndume will always speak his mind. So you could go check it out at some point and see how he's been speaking his mind, all of that. So, but we can also tell you that the federal government has unveiled a strategy to lead Africa's digital trade revolution within the framework of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Vice President Kashim Shettima outlined the key components of the roadmap during a stakeholders meeting in Abuja today. According to the strategy, according to him, includes implementation of a digital trade protocol and the development of an expansive technical talent hub. Okay, so those are not the only stories we're tracking for you as far as the program is concerned. There are other stories, but let's tell you that Mr. Philip Shaibu, the reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State, is going to be my first guest. There, I say that, but we'll come back to you. Your Excellency, we'll come back to you after I'll take our political roundup stories. Join us again.
The People's Democratic Party in Edo State has accused the All Progressives Congress in the state of orchestrating the shooting incident at Airport Road, Benin City on Thursday, which led to the killing of a police officer attached to the APC governorship candidate, Monday Ogbebelo. Speaking at the PDP Secretariat in the state, the chairman of the PDP in Edo State, Anthony Azegboni, claims that the APC are not prepared for the governorship polls. He also commiserates with the family of the deceased and is calling for a full investigation into the issue.
It is quite disheartening that an innocent police officer lost his life due to the violence unleashed on innocent citizens by the APC led by his governorship candidate, Senator Monday Ogbebelo.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission are advocating for public institutions at all levels to uphold fiscal responsibility in procurement processes and contract awards. The Anti-Corruption Commissioner for ICPC in Benue State and the Makurdi EFCC Zonal Commander made the call at a 3-day training on due process and administration in public procurement and awards of contracts in Makurdi, the Benue State capital.
Our involvement here is to tell the participants about their role in terms of transparency, in terms of competition, in terms of fairness in contract awards, contract implementations, monitoring of contracts.
Meanwhile, the governor of River State, Siminalayi Fubara, is urging the National Assembly Joint Committee on Electoral Matters to focus on amendments that contribute to improving the electoral process in the country for the good of society and not to advance individual interests. Speaking while hosting a delegation of the committee at the Government House in Port Harcourt, Governor Fubara says any legislation targeted at empowering particular individuals is misguided.
Everybody now understands that political involvement is the key to a better and developed state.
And the Confederation of All Progressives Congress support groups is calling for a reversal of the planned nationwide protest against President Bola Tinubu's administration over the state of the nation and warned that the protests may lead to anarchy. The Director General of the group, Professor Mohammed Kailani, while addressing a press conference in Abuja, says the protests may lead to chaos and urges Nigerians to support the president as he and his team are working to reshape the nation.
No nation in the world has survived an uncoordinated nation-wide protest because it will plunge the nation into chaos. As I've told you before, Kenya is struggling to survive one. Nigeria cannot afford that experience at this critical moment and time.
Lastly, Sly Ezio Kinwa group of the All Progressives Grand Alliance has filed a notice of charge before a federal high court in Abuja against the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for recognizing Edozie Njoku as the party's new national chairman. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja, Mr. Ezio Kinwa criticized INEC for his decision and insists that he remains the national chairman of the party. This is even as a federal high court in Abuja had earlier affirmed Mr. Njoku as the national chairman of the party.
It is apparent to this court that the correction of a slip in a name by the Supreme Court has no effect on the validity of the judgment that confirmed Chief Victor Oye as national chairman of the party.
Welcome back. Those are the stories we've been tracking for you. And of course, as they develop, we'll bring you up to speed on the weekend edition of the program. Just before we went for that roundup, we did tell you that the reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State, Mr. Philip Shaibu, is my first guest on the program before we get to the State of the Nation on another part of the conversation. So let's bring him in, Mr. Philip Shaibu. He joins us from via Zoom from Benin City. Mr. Shaibu, thank you so much for coming on the program, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
You know, we've heard all kinds of versions of what transpired yesterday when you returned to Benin City and what ensued around the airport road that led to the death of that police officer. Maybe you can walk us through as an eyewitness of some sort to bring us up to speed of what you saw and what you experienced.
Yeah, thank you very much again for having me. Good evening, Nigerians. And those that are watching. It's very unfortunate, and I wish the family of the slain police officer, I send my condolences and pray that God grant him eternal rest. Very sad. It was very unfortunate yesterday when we arrived Benin Airport, and the CP was waiting for me actually, because I spoke to him the previous day about the judgment and for enforcement. And he promised that I was going to do his best. And when I was leaving, I called that I was leaving. And he actually waited for me at the airport. And we had our discussions, and he said everything was fine, and I left. On our way out, we were told that some persons blocked the gate, both gates of the airport. And finding out it was a Ndume vigilante network and POL and some talks that were blocking the gate, disallowing us from leaving the airport. We took almost 30 minutes waiting for the place to be cleared. The soldiers, I think Air Force soldiers, Air Force personnel that were there, I think eventually opened the gates and we now passed. Immediately we got to airport road. We were welcomed with gunshots, sporadic gunshot by Ndume vigilante network and POF, and the talks that were arranged by the state government. And it was very unfortunate, and that led to the slain police officer and a passerby and some bullet wound on our supporters. It was very, very unfortunate. And that's what happened. And I'm shocked that, I'm not shocked anyway that that has happened, because I know that is synonymous to them. And that is why if you watch all through, for over 1 year I've had this crisis, I make sure I avoid going to the streets to protest anything. If I spend more time and money to stop my people from going to protest on the street, because I know it will lead to death, because I know what these characters around the governors can do. And that's why, if you check, many people will say, Philip is no longer protesting. It's so quiet. Yes, because I didn't want, my mind tells me if I go and allow my people to protest the injustice that have been meted on me for the past 1 year, there'll be death. And that's why I took the legal means to drive home my point and fight for my right. But even at that, yesterday I got intel that the governor has told his men that they must not allow me into town. And I'm a freeborn of Edo State. Nobody can stop me from entering Edo State. And the Constitution does not allow anybody to bar me from entering Edo State, not even when I'm a deputy governor. Even if I'm an ordinary citizen, I should have freedom. That's what the Constitution gave me, it's a right. So, but I didn't know that he will arm them that much. It's reviewing it further, I discovered that I remember the governor saying during this crisis, when I declared to contest for the governor, I said, if I continue, it will destroy me. Use the word, if you continue, I will destroy you. So with what happened yesterday, it was obvious that there was an critical attempt to actualize that statement he made that he was going to destroy me. And I've gone to Mother Mary amicably. I prayed to God that only God that can destroy man. That's why I decided that I will fight and see the end of this electionary campaign and everything, and I made up my mind to contest it. And even when they impeached, the purported impeachment, I made up my mind I was going to fight for the sanctity and sanity of the office of the deputy governor, so that by the time we complete this fight.
If I may butt in, the reason I just need to allow you to explain, since you were the one present, nobody can give account better than the person present. But there's been this blame game. Some are saying that it is you and your people that orchestrated that violence and not anybody orchestrating violence. That there were even pictures and videos that is more like orchestrating violence from your end to look like there is trouble in the city. And reference was even made to your person and all of that. So what do you say to that?
My brother, when we had the primaries, the same governor ordered that they must stop any protest by anybody close to me because of what they were going to do. I got all the intel, and I also took to beat all the people he said to maim us on the day of the primaries. If you go to my official residence after the primary, you see what the Edo vigilante did. They shot at the door, came en masse to the shooting, but the luck we had was that injuries, but there were no death. And that is why you didn't hear much about what happened on the day of the primaries. So they are synonymous to that. What they do, their style is that in the morning, they will pull a story through their media rat to say, X person want to do X. In the afternoon, that will happen through them because that's how they operate. So if you watch, in the morning, they did publish that with those their media rat that Philip is mobilizing talks to force him to this way to resume. When I saw it, I informed the police because I know what they have said is what they want to do. But I didn't know that they were coming to the airport to do that until we got to the airport. So for me, that is how they'll be doing blame game because they are not organized. They are not organized. That's how they do blame game. I want to move on with the
conversation. We've gotten your
point.
Because
if they're organized really, the way and style they use is you can predict everything that they do. Okay, that's just their style.
I wanted to establish all the foundation around the violence that ensued yesterday. And
I will just carry boys to shoot my person. I will go and organize talk to shoot me.
Well, that's what they are saying, because it's a blame game now.
No, doesn't it make sense? I'm celebrating victory. I'm celebrating victory that God has given me victory. I've been vindicated. Then as I'm celebrating, I'll now organize talks to come and attack me. What will I achieve with it?
Well, that is their own position. Instead, of course, we'll get to hear from the police as to how all of this plays out. But let's go to the issue of the legalese. I saw that, correct me if I'm wrong, that you've even started making appointments. First, have you resumed in your office? Let's begin from
I've resumed. Yeah, I've resumed in the office that I was before the purported impeachment. And I have written to the governor for the appointment of those, not really an appointment, because if you read the judgment, it said the office of the deputy governor was never vacant. So because it was never vacant, I've written to the governor that I'm back and that I'm reinstating all my political appointee to the office. Not that I am doing fresh appointment. No, I've written to the governor already about those appointments. Yes, I've started work where they left me before.
All right, there's a lot going on because the scenario now is almost like a series of two tails across board. In Kano, we're having issue of two emirs. In Rivers, we're having issue of two national state assemblies. And now in Edo State, looks like we're having issue of two deputies. So there
cannot be two deputies.
Mr. Shaibu, just hold on. Just hold on, sir. There is a stay of execution already. That means in law that whatever action you take has to be held off until the substantive issue is granted. So what is the premise of your holding on to the fact that you have been reinstated as deputy governor, given that there is a stay of execution?
My brother, this is the judgment of the court, a declaratory judgment of the court, declaratory judgment of the court. And a declaratory judgment does not, if you follow the law, and the Supreme Court law, you cannot stay a declarative judgment. But even if you want to stay it, tell them to show you. I'm just showing you the judgment. Let them show you their own judgment. Because you must go through the same court that gave this judgment, and that judgment must grant. Let them show you. A motion or application, does it act like stay? You are telling me I want to do X and I've not granted it. It cannot act as stay. So this is, immediately this judgment was given. 1 hour after, they sent Crusoe to write that they have gotten a stay and they have appealed 1 hour after that judgment. Whereas this judgment came out yesterday. So it's like maybe it is in the spirit world that they saw the judgment and they are now appealing it in the spirit world. But in the physical, they don't have any stay of execution. They don't have. If they have, I'm showing you the judgment, declarative judgment, saying I am the deputy governor of Edo State. It was never vacant.
At some point, I think at some point we may have to show you in video. I'm sure you've seen their own application.
They don't have.
Hold on. Their own application for stay of execution. And I have to talk to I have to talk to
application.
I have to talk to a few senior advocates on this to find out what exactly this means in law. And some are saying that, but the fact that it's already filed in court and is accepted in court is enforceable until a substantive case is being heard. Is that what your legal team is also saying? It mustn't be granted. That is what I learned.
My brother, these guys are just lawless people. Justice Omotosho gave 2 judgments that day. One of the judgments against me for Aswe Igodalo. And the second judgment, my reinstatement. And I've not seen that judgment that was given against me to study it and give to my lawyers, for my lawyers to now know if we are appealing or not. These people, very lawless, they've not seen this judgment. They've not seen it at all. They're already telling you they have a stay of execution. I tell you now, the governor has gone to, I'm told he's in Abuja now, looking for her to get a stay of execution. You understand? So I can bet you, let them bring a motion for stay of execution. I'm not a lawyer. I was only a lawmaker. I can bet you it does not act as a stay. As far as this judgment is concerned, there was never vacancy in the office of the deputy governor.
Mr. Shaibu,
and there will not be vacancy in the office of the deputy governor until November 11.
I'm just telling you what's available. At some point, we're going to show you the
they don't have an order.
The motion that was filed.
I challenge them to show you an order. They should show you an order. They don't have an order.
Well, we'll bring the lawyers to interpret that. But some of the lawyers are saying that, look, for the fact that they filed for a stay of execution and is accepted in court, that can hold on pending the appeal and all of that. But I think we may look at the legalese yet again to be able to be sure of what we're doing. Because I see that you're making that argument that until it's granted. I think, is that your argument that until it's granted, that is not enforceable? Yeah. Is that your argument?
It's not enforceable. They should go and enforce this. They should follow this. They should be lawful. We, as a government, our duty is to abide by the rule of law. Let me tell you, in 2016, when the governor and I started this campaign to Government House, one of the things the governor promised that there will be law and order. And if we that promise law and order cannot follow simple judgment, the rest is history, and you know what that means. That means there's failure on the part of our own side.
Mr. Shaibu, we already know that as soon as you get such cases like this, I get a judgment in your favor, they will definitely appeal. They will definitely be on a stay of order. It's not over until it's over in terms of the judicial process.
You can appeal. I'm not against them appealing. I'm also studying the Aswe thing, whether I will appeal. If I discover I can appeal, I will appeal. But you must obey. The point I'm making, you need to give it to your lawyer. This is a declarative judgment. Immediately the pronouncement was made. I'm reinstated automatically. And if you must appeal, you will follow the process until that appeal is granted. It remains like that. And if you want to apply for stay, until that stay is granted, because before they grant that stay, the judge, one of the things I'm told that the judge must look at, if that stay will be injurious to the person that the judgment is giving, and before the judge will take a decision. So until a judge takes that decision, an application for stay does not act as a stay.
It looks like, I'm sure the lawyers are watching and they will be nodding their head as to what is correct, whether you are correct or the people that say...
My brother, by the grace of God, by the grace of God, not by my power.
Mr. Shaibu, the reason is because it will appear like you're foisting a fait accompli in their view, for those who hold it.
No.
I'm not defending the government. I'm just talking legalese here from the layman's point of view.
No. If you are talking like that, you're actually defending the government. That's the truth. Because I have told you, have asked me a question, and I've told you that the law, as I'm told, and by knowledge and by Supreme Court judgment, where this case might end up, you must obey a declarative judgment. Okay. And if you must get a stay, you must go back to the same court that granted this. The same court, you must go back to the same court and ask for stay until it is granted. And one of the things I'm told by my lawyer that the judge will look at, if granting the stay will be injurious to me, the judge will not grant it. If it's not going to be injurious, then that is when it can be granted. That's what I'm told. So until you get it, I'm showing you a judgment. They don't have a judgment. So for me, it's just an act of lawlessness. All right, and already, the commissioner and Spruso are already in violation of this order. Because the order in the judgment in one, I think number 11 of it has said the governor or his aides or his proxy or whoever should not interfere in my discharge of duty. Already they're interfering. They're already in contempt of the judgment.
Yes, that brings me to the next question, which is this kind of, there's a lot of rancor, there's a lot of bad blood everywhere. So how do you intend to work? How do you intend to work in this kind of atmosphere?
I can work in any atmosphere. I was the coordinator of Abacha Must Go during the military. And I was able to coordinate and still pass my exams. So I'm somebody that can multitask, and I'll do very well in it. As the deputy governor, I'm the deputy governor of Edo State, and the Constitution defines my role as deputy governor. And I am a very, very loyal person. And if I try to work with the governor, he's not ready to work with me, I'll do the work that the Constitution asks me to do. I only have 4 months to go. And these 4 months will be a very peaceful and a 4 months that by the grace of God, we'll be able to round up. In fact, the remaining 4 months actually are supposed to be rounding up all our programs. So there's no major work that is left.
Another issue that is, I think I did ask someone, thank God you're the one on the seat now, so you'll be able to respond. On one hand, you're fighting for your seat on the table as Deputy Governor of Edo State with all the legalese that is involved that is under so much debate. On the other hand, you're clearly and unapologetically supporting the APC candidate in the election. Have you left the PDP? It's like you're double dating. What exactly, Mr. Shaibu, explain to us how you're playing this politics.
I am fighting for the sanity and sanctity of the office of the Deputy Governor of Edo State. And I don't want anybody to defy the office of the Deputy Governor of Edo State. Just like I will not want anybody to do same to the office of the Governor of Edo State. The office of the Governor and the office of the Deputy Governor is an institution. I am defending the institution of the office of the Deputy Governor. I fought for democracy, and I fought for democracy because we want democratic governance where people can express themselves freely and be able to choose who governs them and move freely and no intimidation and harassment. And one of my major cardinal goals is to strengthen institutions. I'm seeing the institution of the office of the Deputy Governor being destroyed by the governor for personal gain. And that is why I am fighting to bring back the sanity of the office of the Deputy Governor, not for my personal self. The governor have not paid me for the past 1 year, and I know he's not going to pay for the remaining 4 months. No, what I'm fighting for is the sanctity and sanity of an institution of the office of the Deputy Governor. And for the other question that you asked, I'm double dating. Actually, I'm not double dating. I learned, when you born a child or when you have a leader, there are certain things the leader does and you want to pick and choose. You want to pick the one that you feel is good. The governor by himself wanted us to support Labour, and he even asked us to select Labour candidate aspirant during the last election. The wife even told us that the governor, the Atiku and Tinubu will never win the election. And I understand. So they did anti-party. And when I saw that they did anti-party and nothing happened, and recently the governor on your platform, you checked, he said you can support who you like. So I also have the right now to follow suit, to support who I like on this one. So I'm supporting Senator Monday Okpeholo because we need an homeboy now to be our governor. We don't need an outsider. But Senator Monday and Olumide Akpata, they are the only homeboy in the three major parties in that in Edo State.
Mr. Shaibu, apparently this is clearly anti-party activity you're carrying out. There are no two ways.
No, at all.
This is clearly anti-party activity now.
No, let me tell you. I will not support.
You are in the PDP and you are supporting an APC candidate. What else is anti-party? And you're a deputy governor on the platform of the PDP.
The governor was in PDP. I still in PDP. I was supporting Labour. So what will you say to that?
Well, I'm speaking to you, not the governor. I'm talking about you on this particular instance.
I'm telling you that we were all in PDP, and we are still in PDP. He supported Labour.
So is that now a practice within the PDP to be?
And that they say follow your leader. So I'm following my leader.
Okay, let's begin to wind down, Mr. Shaibu, on this one. What is the way forward? Apparently, you want something. What's the way forward? What can be done to bring peace between you and the governor? And maybe close this chapter so that it doesn't escalate? Because an election is coming.
It's for the governor to show leadership. Governor should show leadership and show empathy. And the governor should also know that we've contested to bring law and order and sanity to the state. And if governor should also know that we must strengthen institutions, that is what we agreed to do. And that is why when I had to fight even my father to make sure he wins his second term as governor. That charter of the band must be fulfilled. We must strengthen institution because this institution must be strong to live. After us, we must benefit from a strong institution. If we don't strengthen institution, we will also be victim of not helping the institution. The institution of the office of the deputy governor must not be destroyed the way the governor wants to do.
All right, Mr. Shaibu. Apparently, I think when it comes to politics, politicians make simple things complicated, which is what we're seeing playing out across. But we must thank you, the reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State, Mr. Philip Shaibu. Thank you for coming on the program. We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be speaking to the deputy spokesperson of the House of Representatives. Recently, the president had actually sent an amendment to the 2024 Appropriation Act. 6.2 trillion is asking to add to the 28.7 trillion. We need to find details of what these monies are for. Join us again. Welcome back. We're being joined in the program by the deputy spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Mr. Philip Agbese. Joins us from our Abuja studio. Mr. Agbese, thank you so much for your patience and for coming on the program. And so let's get straight to it, if you can hear me clearly. The issue of the budget. I know you had a presser, if I'm correct, talking about how the chambers of the National Assembly, perhaps speaking for your own chamber, the Green Chamber, will scrutinize the new amendment that the president is seeking to the Appropriation Act of 2024, which stood at 28.7. Now with this, we'll be talking about 34.9 trillion because there's an injection of about 6.2. So maybe help us break it down and what exactly is in the content of this particular appropriation amendment.
Yes, first and foremost, let me state that, yes, like you Nigerians are aware, the House of Representatives, by large, the National Assembly is in receipt of the Supplementary Appropriation bill, which is before us for amendment, the 2024 supplementary budget. Now, what we have at the moment, what Mr. President sent to us is 3.2 trillion naira for capital projects and another 3 trillion naira to be able to address personnel issues. I think the obvious facts are are open. They are out in public domain. First and foremost, we want to commend as a parliament, Mr. President, for yielding to the new minimum wage of 70,000 naira to help in ameliorating the sufferings and pains of our constituents across the country. It is indeed true that Nigerians are suffering, and as a parliament, we are all working very hard to see that we cushion the effect of the global economic challenges that we are facing today as a country. So, in the wisdom of the executive led by His Excellency President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has seen the need for us to amend the law, the initial act, which we had passed and he had assented to before, to make extra budgetary provisions, to tackle critical issues like infrastructure, interventions in the health sector, education, and other engagements that will help, to make life better for our citizens. So, as a parliament, upon the receipt of the supplementary appropriation bill, we have committed it into the committee of appropriation led by Right Honorable Kabiru Bichi. The committee has set into motion, their necessary rules and their modus operandi to engage with the executive to scrutinize the document as submitted by Mr. President. As a parliament, we have received it, and it is our covenant with the Nigerian people that we're going to make sure, that every single kobo of the masses that will be spent in terms of appropriation and execution of projects in the country will count towards, making life better for our citizens. I can confirm authoritatively to you that the Committee on Appropriation, under the leadership of Kabiru Bichi, is already working. They've had a series of meetings. They'll be meeting tomorrow, and I know of a fact that on Monday they'll be meeting, meeting with the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget Planning, the Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, and all the concerned agencies, to look at the document.
All right, Honorable just so that I can butt in and ask a few more questions. So, the first quick one, is this a supplementary appropriation act or is just an amendment to the 2024? What exactly is this?
Yes. The question you asked, the answer is very simple. I think in public domain, the way Nigerians understand it, it is usually called supplementary. That is something in addition to what is already in existence. In parliamentary language, it is called an amendment because we are looking at it is actually an amendment because we already have something which is already in existence. It is not a new budget. It is the old budget for 2024, which Parliament had done due diligence on before now, and which Mr. President had signed into law last year that we are working with. So it is an amendment. And if you also call it a supplementary bill, I think it is also right. It's also correct.
So technically, we may be having 2024 budget, 2023 supplementary, which is still in operation till December 2023, the main act itself, which is still in December. So 3 budgets side by side at the end of this. So my question will be, as far as this particular budget is concerned, have you been privy, or the members have been privy to see some of the specific line items that these things are meant for? So that I am asking that question based on the fact that let's see whether the prioritization is right. Because I know that, for instance, the recurrent may be trying to catch up with the new amendment to the wage bill, minimum wage, to accommodate for more monies that will be spent. So, but you speak, you're the one in charge of document.
Yes, we have the document before us, but I think what the Committee on Appropriation is doing at the moment is to invite the Honorable Minister what we do basically as a parliament, the People's House under the leadership of His Excellency Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas is a parliament of rules and procedures. So in line with our procedure at the moment, what we have done is to commit that document to the Committee on Appropriation. On Monday, the Committee on Appropriation is going to unveil the entire document, to Nigerians and to its members. I'm sure members of the Committee on Appropriation already have, these details. But on Monday, as a parliament, we will be scrutinizing the line items. However, let me add that in the wisdom of Mr. President, the issues have already been stated. Today, we already know, some of the basic challenges that we're having in the country. And in the wisdom of His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief, he has seen, that the work currently going on across the country and the situation that we are being confronted with. For instance, the Ministry of Agriculture, we have seen some of the lofty reforms that are being carried out in the agricultural sector to, further inject and support, the livelihood of fellow countrymen and women. So I think basically for now, I would say that this issue, the budget is addressing issues in agriculture, works, health, and education. By Monday, we are going to unveil the entire document for all the members and for all Nigerians, because we're also inviting Nigerians to come and participate in the public engagement between the parliament and the ministers on Monday.
There's a couple of questions I want to throw to you, but as parliamentarians, I'm wondering what is the yardstick for you to look at? Because most of the time when we see executive send bills to the National Assembly, they hardly reduce it. In fact, they jack it up a couple of the time. So sometimes you wonder, did they really look? For instance, if you're getting ways and means advances from the Central Bank of Nigeria, from the government wants to fulfill some short obligation, there is a law that says we can only give you 5%. And for you to take another one, we would have seen that your revenue has gotten to 5% of your previous year's revenue before we give you another one. And you have to pay the one that you're owing before we can give you another. The reason I'm explaining all of this, sometimes to Nigerians, it doesn't look like there's proper scrutiny. What can happen that the parliament will say, no, President, we can't give you up to 6 trillion. We can give you 5, we can give you 4 because of this, that, and the other. Because always you can take everything, get it done.
Yes, under the concept of separation of powers, our duties and functions are clearly stated in the law, in the Constitution. The document that His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief has sent to the Parliament is not for the Parliament, to adopt the document. It is for the Parliament, in its wisdom, to look at it. And that is why Parliament has the power to look at it, scrutinize, and aside scrutinizing, we equally, as a parliament over the last few months, we have entertained motions and debates, on the floor of the House, where parliamentarians, in their own wisdom, also feel that there are certain critical issues that Mr. President, the executive, must tackle in order to address issues that are confronting their constituents. So in doing that, and professionally, when we also bring in our experts, who will be working with the Committee on Appropriation, they will equally be looking at the projection. And that is why the explanation that the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and Planning, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Minister of Works, Honorable Minister of Health will be coming to give to Parliament on Monday, will form the basis which Parliament will form its own decision as to increase, decrease, or to leave it as it stands. But as a Parliament that is committed to transparency and accountability and probity, to ensure that every single penny, every single kobo of the Nigerian people counts, of the taxpayers' money counts, towards the well-being of the citizen, is to ensure that items that have already been listed in the original budget, which has been passed, do not resurface in the next budget. Mr. Speaker, has equally made it very clear, times without number, that this parliament is going to support the executive to the extent that what we do counts towards the interest of the common masses.
The reason I'm asking all of that is the injection of funds doesn't necessarily solve all the problem. It's how it is implemented at the end of the day. Because let me ask you a straight question. Because the government has been here barely a year, but the APC government was there for 8 years before that's prior to the PDP government for 16 years. And there are so many things going on. People are hungry, people are angry, people are tired of promises. People want to see action in the short term. Some people are trying to raise a campaign, end bad governance and all of that. In your view as a parliamentarian who represents the people, is Nigeria working in your view?
Yes, to say the country is working, in my view, I think is to agree, with the popular notion, of well-meaning citizens of this country and people who are well-informed, people who know how nations are bettered and the growth and development of nations. You see, the current challenges that we are having at the moment, yes, they are with us. We're going to live with them for a couple of months. But we believe, again, that government is, government is instituted in the first instance to solve problems. So Nigerians, saw to the need, to bet a new government in 2023 when His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was voted into office to serve and solve problems. And again, as a parliament, we are also here to solve problems. So the problems have been with us. They are going to be with us for a long time. The cardinal issue at the moment is that what are we doing, to tackle these problems? And in answering that question, let me point it clearly that after passing the budget, after scrutinizing the details of this budget, as a parliament, we are committed to probity and accountability. We are going to use our oversight responsibility as a parliament to ensure that we follow in details, the execution of the projects that have been listed in this budget. For instance, our Committee on Work, Committee on Education, in fact, almost all the committees of the House of Representatives at the moment are out on oversight function to ensure that even what we have approved in the previous budget are being accounted for by the executive. And as a matter of fact, we'll give it to His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that so far so good, things are on track. So the problems that we are facing,
Mr. Saliu, my apologies, Mr. Agbese, I wanted to quote Mr. Saliu I'm coming with a statement he made on this particular issue. You say things are on track. I'm not going to debate that with you. But things are quite difficult for Nigerians. So let me show you what Mr. Saliu, a former APC vice chairman, Northwest. So if you guys can hold it, say, so as long as APC's leadership and Asiwaju Tinubu's government have taken the self-destructive path, which is equivalent to a declaration of working end their tenure in 2027, patriotic Nigerians must help them to ensure their defeat in 2027. So this is a statement from a former member of your party, but it was actually responding to the the removal of the Senate Chief Whip, Ali Ndume, when he spoke about the state of the polity, which is why I'm asking you that question. Because you're the people's representative, you should be able to hold the powerful to account and the government, the executive, to account.
Yes.
So that's
yes,
what I'm saying. Things are difficult.
Yes, let me quickly address that. Yes, let me quickly address that. The parliament is not in denial of the current situation. We are not in denial. Just yesterday, the parliament, the House of Representatives resolved, to cede 50% of members' monthly salary for the next 6 months, towards supporting humanitarian issues in the country. We're a parliament that is committed, under the leadership of His Excellency Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, we are committed, towards enhancing, to even make life better for the common citizens of this country. Nevertheless, let me, just spend a minute to talk about our former leader, Mr. Saliu Lukman. Mr. Saliu Lukman is a character that is well known to many Nigerians. He's one who, is an island, a wise man who exists, the only wise person who exists in this country. Mr. Saliu believes that once things are not going his way, or he doesn't have it the way he wants it, then everything is wrong. Look at his days as a Director General of the Nigerian Progressive Governors Forum. Not much was done. He was in the APC for a very long time until he started having issues, with initially his issue in the APC, because we are members of the same political party. His issue in the APC initially started when he failed to secure nomination as a minister by the current government. So basically what I want to say is that I think Nigerians, our positions as stakeholders, our positions as leaders of this country should not necessarily be about where we stand, about how well things impact on us.
If I may butt in because of time, my apologies. The truth and the reality is that Nigerians are fatigued, as you have acknowledged. Governments have come. Just hold on. Nigerians are fatigued. Now, whether the messenger has a moral issue to deal with is a different kettle of fish. But I try to stay with the substance of what was raised, which is that there's hunger in the land, there's hardship. And as a spokesperson or a deputy spokesperson of the House, I'm asking you what exactly you're doing to ameliorate the challenges that people are facing beyond the things we see that are not really moving the needle.
Yes, you see, the first step that we have taken, hunger is one of the numerous challenges that we are facing as a nation. We're equally having a security crisis, which Mr. President is tackling. We have all agreed, on a consensus that, yes, there are problems as far as the country is concerned. And we are, as leaders, and carrying out, functions and responsibilities that would help, not just to provide palliatives. I've said this before, that the National Assembly under the leadership of Senator Godswill Akpabio and Tajuddin Abbas, we are out to collaborate and partner with the executive to the extent that we're able to solve a good number of these problems. We have problems in infrastructure. We are tackling those problems by ensuring that new roads are being created. Mr. President is working, and as a parliament, we are collaborating, we are supporting, we are following up on what Mr. President is doing. We, as a parliament, have the duty of oversight to scrutinize, to see how the executive is carrying out these things. If in the past, the parliament had worked in this line that we are working today, I'm sure some of these problems would have been solved.
Mr. Agbese, I must thank you for coming on the program. There is going to be a lot of conversation because I follow the numbers a lot when it comes to the economy. I like numbers and I follow it, and I can tell you they don't look good. But we hope and pray it will get better. Thank you, Mr. Philip Agbese, Deputy
the number will get better. We are working.
Spokesperson of the House of Representatives. Thank you, sir, for your time and patience. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama, of course, sitting in for Shinwo Kimbale, who's out on leave. We'll be back, of course, very soon. Join us again and have a great weekend.